You're listening to TGI Sports Talk with your host, Keith Angle, on Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning, everybody. Keith Angle, TGI Sports Talk. We're live on a Sunday morning, the first Sunday of 2021. Certainly hope your new year is starting better than the old one ended. Been a little weird weather-wise here. It's typical winter. It's a little dreary here in East Greenbush, New York. We are broadcasting live from our studios here in East Greenbush, New York. The first and only live streaming sports webcast. I don't know what the temperature is. It's probably in the 20s about now. We do have some weather coming later. Some snow. Got some snow and ice the other night, so typical Northeast weather. Hope it's nicer wherever you're watching me from. So again, I want to thank my groups that I share the broadcast to. Again, I assure you, if I've shared it to your group, you're going to have relevant content that you'll have some interest in. And it's going to get a little tougher, I guess, as we go forward because we'll be covering more than just, say, college football and professional football on a Sunday. So we'll be branching out a little bit. I want to thank my guest from Friday. I had a great interview with Lloyd Walton, former All-American guard at Marquette, current senior counselor for the NBA Players, career counselor for the NBA Players Association. We had a great interview. Talked about Al McGuire and the great Marquette teams. Talked a lot about Lloyd's life and getting his doctorate, one of the only of three players to do so. It was a great interview, and I really thank Lloyd for his time, and we'll be looking for his book. I don't even have the title actually yet. It might be First and 40. I'm not positive, but he's going to get me some more information as we get closer to release date, and we'll talk more about that. My guest this coming Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time will be Hal McCoy. Hal is a sports writer for the in Ohio and covered the Cincinnati Reds from the Big Red Machine right through just a few years back. He covered everything, all the great teams in the 70s that they had. He was there at the forefront of the Pete Rose scandal, March shot, Lou Piniella leading him back to a World Series in 1990. So we're going to have a great conversation with Hal McCoy on Friday. I'm looking forward to that. Today, we got some interesting stuff to cover. I got more college football to talk about than I thought I would, to be honest with you. A lot of stuff going on. We'll talk about a couple of the bowl games, some issues that came up during those bowl games. We'll talk about the semifinals, and God, what a couple horrible games again. NCAA could fix this. But we'll talk more about that as we go on. So let's jump right into the college scoreboard a little bit. Again, we aren't going to cover a lot of games, but there's some that I did have some interest in that we haven't talked about up until now. I mean, we start off with Miami, and Tuesday night, Miami played Oklahoma State. It was a really fun game, 37-34. Oklahoma State wins. The big news was before the game was that De'Aaron King from Miami was coming back at quarterback for a sixth season. He has some eligibility left, so he'll be staying. Seems these guys can stay around forever. But he did get hurt early in that game. And it was just, that really, Miami couldn't overcome that. So Texas romps over Colorado, and interestingly enough, a few days later fires Tom Herman after they'd given him a vote of confidence here just a few weeks ago. And the Texas hired Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, and we'll dive into that topic in just a little bit. Some other games: Oklahoma rolled over Florida 55-20. Florida was decimated with opt-outs. A lot, one of the big stories of this whole bowl season has been the opt-outs, but the whole season. But there was a lot of teams that either had COVID implications or players opting out to stay safe and not hurt their draft status and whatnot. I mean, that's always rampant in college football, and it's something that I feel needs to be addressed somehow. they play the entire season and they get to the most important games, or theoretically the most important games, and they don't play. But Oklahoma's looked great the last 4 years, and I think you want to look out for Spencer Rattler next year. I think Spencer Rattler and Sam Howell are going to be, to me, are going to be among the front runners, if not the front runners for the Heisman next year. The quarterback trophy, as we call it these days. A lot of cancellations, obviously. I'm not going to cover them all. You guys have heard them ad nauseum. San Jose State gets their perfect season ruined by Ball State and got romped pretty good, 34-13, and a bit of a surprise. Mississippi State and Tulsa, the game, who cares? But there was a brawl in this game at the end that, to me, leaves a stench and a black mark on the NCAA. It just shouldn't happen. And this comes down to coaching. This is a lack of discipline on these teams. There were some remarks by the Tulsa coach afterwards that, we're going to stick up for our guys. And I get that. You should stick up for your guys. We had this conversation on this show when Andy Dalton got creamed by the Redskins in a nasty hit. We've had it at other times, but you take care of it, in the course of the game. And you don't look to hurt guys. This thing was ugly. There was cops chasing players around the field. I don't even know to this moment what exactly started it. But I think there's got to be some serious repercussions for both of these programs. I don't know what it's going to be, but this comes down to coaching and instilling discipline in players. We're here to win football games. I'm under no illusions at the NCAA Division I level. We're here to win football games. But you're also here to build character in young men. Sorry, part of the equation. And you cannot have an instance like this mar. Again, it's a meaningless bowl game. But it's seen by everybody. It's going to be replayed forever, this brawl. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I feel very strongly that the coaches are at fault for this. They're kids, I understand. But, you've got to install a modicum of discipline in these kids. And if you can't do it, then you're not doing your job. Morning, Rick Sherlock. Yes, Georgia did win. I haven't got to their game yet, I don't think. But yes, even with a bunch of opt-outs. And it was a nice win. I'll get to that game here. In fact, I'll talk about that game right now. Let me say Army. I think Army played a really good game in the where it didn't look like they were going to get a bowl game at all because they'd accepted they started before the Rick's talking about the Mississippi game start, whatever guys without shirts. You know what? The whole thing was ugly. It's a stain on the NCAA and both those programs and the coaches. Tulsa gets a really good year. First of all, I'm watching Mississippi State at 4-7 after the win. Why am I watching them in a bowl game anyway? Just cancel it. But Tulsa gets a really good season, just gets a black mark. Enough of that. Army with a great year, 9-3. Didn't get a chance to play a lot of really good teams, which they were kind of put down for. But again, they didn't have a chance to because of COVID. But they were very competitive against, a pretty good West Virginia team. Look at it. It's a Power 5 team. Army's right in this game. Probably should have won. So they very good accounting of themselves for Army, I think. I love their coach. Another guy I love. We'll skip past the semifinals for now. We'll get to Georgia. Rick Sherlock mentioned Georgia gets the win even with all the opt-outs, which were really prevalent in a lot of the games. But I'll be honest with you. What I took away from this game, kudos to Georgia. Went on a last-second field goal. JT Daniels played pretty well. But I was very impressed with Cincinnati. Again, the AAC doesn't get any respect. I won't say they get disrespected. They don't get any respect. And you can't tell me, Cincinnati played very well. They should have won the football game in my mind. They played well. Georgia, kudos to them. At the end of the day, it's a meaningless bowl game, but you can't tell me Cincinnati probably would have done any worse than Clemson or Notre Dame did on in the semifinals. As far as the other bowl games, I don't have a lot. Northwestern beats Auburn. Texas A&M rolls over North Carolina. Rolls, but it was closer than the score got out of hand at the end. Iowa State beats up on Oregon by 17. Ole Miss, Indiana, no interest. Kentucky, North Carolina State, who cares? Another under 500 team in Kentucky being there. So bettors and television, nobody else cares. The semifinals, they should care, by the way. I say nobody cares, but again, they should care because this thing with you're probably tired of hearing me talking about it, but this 4-team playoff has got to go away. You got to expand it to 8 teams, 16 teams, whatever plan they want to come up with. Do something. I mean, if you're going to end up with a stinker in the semifinals, you might as well have a couple of decent games leading up to it. And you can't tell me that Cincinnati, and again, I'll be honest with you, let me be clear. If you're only going to have 4 teams, then they probably had the right 4 teams. Maybe Cincinnati should have been in there and not Notre Dame. That would be the only thing that I would probably tweak. Or maybe you say Ohio State because of the schedule that they didn't play. But again, they're obviously, based on the result of the semifinal, one of the best 4 teams in the country. So, with that said, I would not have included some of the teams that I'm going to talk about in a 14 playoff. I just wouldn't do it because they either didn't win their conference or they didn't even get to their conference championship game. But you can't tell me if we played a larger playoff, 8 teams, 16 teams, and we got down to the final 4, and I don't know, let's say Oklahoma, Cincinnati, Texas A&M, wouldn't have done at least as well as these 2 teams, Clemson and Notre Dame. Alabama Notre Dame gets throttled against superior competition. I thought it was different this year. I spoke out about it here. I thought this was a different Notre Dame team, and it's not. Same problems. So again, I wrote down some teams here that you can't tell me that if they were in a larger playoff, I'm not saying 4 teams put them in there, larger playoff, they could have done just as well. God, I don't know. I wrote my notes now, though. I mentioned most of them. Well, Northeastern, good grief, Northeastern football. I don't know if they have a football team. I mentioned a couple already. Cincinnati, Oklahoma, Texas A&M. I had a couple other teams on my mind, but the point is expand the play. Oh, Iowa State. Texas, maybe they're playing well at the end. These semifinal games, I mean, I'll talk about them a little bit. I'm going to give you my pick for the final. I don't see Alabama losing. Alabama beats Notre Dame by 17. Again, it didn't feel like it was that close. Maybe you guys think differently. Morning Bell Pulver. Good morning, Grand Swami. Yeah. We'll get to that. Look, I don't think the game was even as close as what it was. Again, Devontae Smith is a difference maker in the game. 3 touchdowns. That kid is tremendous. And that kid should win the Heisman Trophy. And I'm predicting right now, I'm going to talk about it in a second, but I think he's going to pull it out. I don't know why. I just got a feeling this is the year we don't choose a quarterback because of Trevor Lawrence being out, not playing a full season. Justin Fields not playing a full season. I mean, yeah, there'll be some split votes because you got 3 guys in the top 10 there, and Najee Harris and Mac Jones, who played another great game yesterday. But I got to believe a lot of Mac Jones' success is tied to Devontae Smith as well, and vice versa. But he's my guy. I love that guy. So Alabama rolls over Notre Dame, just outmanned, and on all levels, in the trenches, in the running game, in the passing game, on defense. It felt like more than a 17-point game to me. Just like Clemson, Notre Dame felt like a bigger blowout than what it turned out to be. And the other game, really surprising to me, Ohio State just rolls 49-28 over Clemson. And Clemson, after the first quarter, was really never in this game. Really never closed the gap, I don't think, more than a couple touchdowns after halftime. Trevor Lawrence, 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, but you're behind the whole game. You're probably going to throw for 400 yards more often than not. And Justin Fields threw 6 touchdowns in this game. Great game. Probably helped his draft stock a lot. We'll talk a little bit about that going forward. I haven't been sold on Josh Fields. I still think of the guys that are coming out quarterback-wise, the only sure thing is Trevor Lawrence. The other guys could very well be very good, but the only sure thing in my mind is Trevor Lawrence. And I felt that about Sam Darnold, too, coming out. So we know where that stands right now, and that's something we'll talk about more later. So let's talk about the Heisman real quick before I move on. Oh, my pick. Alabama, Ohio State. Alabama's going to be a huge favorite. There's probably a line out already. I don't have it in front of me. I'd be shocked if it's not double digits. Alabama's going to win this game. Alabama's too good. Alabama just has bodies after bodies after bodies they can throw out there. And that's the difference between them and all these other teams right now. Trevor trembled, Billy says. Put your little thing up here, Bill. Trevor trembled, yeah. Well, still the best quarterback. And the Jets, interestingly enough, might still have a shot at him. Let me get to I'll come back to your Jet comment there in a bit, Bill. If we have a lot of comments that bury it, I'll post it again in a little bit when I get there, because we're going to talk about the Jets a little bit and the Jaguars and some other stuff. The Heisman, again, I'm predicting right now Devontae Smith wins this. The award will be presented January 5th. Keep in mind, guys, somebody made a comment the other day, it might have been Bill on one of my posts, that I don't know if somebody was hurt or had a bad game, and they might have felt they hurt themselves or helped themselves in the Heisman. But the voting already took place not well before the bowl games, because it normally would take place well before the bowl games, but the voting took place right after the ballots had to be in right after the conference championship game. So it's been a couple of weeks at least. We'll come back to Billy's comments. I'll get to the Jets. I promise you, Bill. I have a lot to talk about to the Jets, so we can go back and forth there. You can even call me if you want. In fact, we'll leave it off for now. I'll give you guys a number in a little bit. Where was I? Lost my train of thought. Heisman, Devontae Smith, I think, wins it. I really do. He should win it. He's the best player in the country. And it's going to play into my Jet comments in a little bit. Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, they're going to come in some order of 2, 3, and 4. They're the finalists. So we'll see where we get to. I'm going to predict Trevor Lawrence probably wins, but I'm going to predict the outcome is going to be Devontae Smith, who's the best player in the nation. So we'll get to your comments here, Bill, because I promise you there's something to play in there. One of the other big stories on Saturday, Texas fires Tom Herman after giving him a vote of confidence a couple of weeks ago. Very interesting timing too. They won very big against Colorado. They didn't play Sam Ehlinger a lot, but he's also declared for the draft, so it's probably a good thing because he probably wouldn't be starting next year. So I'm not sure where Sam Ehlinger thinks he's going to fall in the draft. He's certainly not a first-round draft pick. I like the kid. I think he's a good at producing on the next level, but I don't think he's anywhere near the top tier in quarterbacks. But we'll see. Tom Brady was a number 6 round draft pick. Don't forget. Yes, Bill. I will get my Brady and Pat's comments in there. But the big story here to me isn't that they fired Tom Herman. Tom Herman hasn't been successful. He's 32-18 over his career in Texas. That's not going to get it done. But it's funny. Everybody thinks Texas is this, well, they are a historically great program, but their heydays were in the 60s and 70s, and they have not been that good since. They went through a bunch of coaches, after Darrell Royal. Fred Akers had some really good success. But after that, they went through, I don't even know who all the coaches were. So John Makovic, I know, coached there. It's the only name that's really coming to mind. But Mac Jones went there from North Carolina, as you know. Mac Jones kind of restored the program. In fact, he restored it to the fact that to the point where they won a national championship. But the point remains that since 1996, Texas has won 3 Big 12 championships. Guys, that's 25 years. It's not the jewel of a coaching job I thought. I thought if a college job opened that Urban Meyer would be interested, it'd be Texas. And I don't even know if Texas talked to him. And they quickly hired Steve well, I can't say his name. I said it perfectly the other day. Sarkisian. He's had some great success at Alabama as the offensive coordinator. So he's touted as an offensive guru, which he was before he got there. I have lots of listeners in Foxborough, by the way. Just commenting on Bill's comment here. He wants to jump to pro football right away, even though I have lots of college fans. That's why we do this. Where was I? Scarsazian has had his issues. Let's go back to the offensive guru thing. Yes, he had some good offensive teams in Washington. He had some good teams in USC. Had his problems, which we'll come back to. But Jesus, you don't have to be an offensive guru to really succeed as the offensive coordinator at Alabama. Lane Kiffin's another brilliant guy with an offensive mind, and he succeeded there. I think they could probably Nick Saban could call his own plays, and they'd still be as good as they are. So I don't think that in itself is really, it's not like he rebuilt an offense to become some kind of powerhouse. But he had his problems with Washington. Well, not Washington. Washington things went pretty well there, and he got the USC job. His best year was 9-4, though, and then he had some off the field problems. Showed up to a team function where he mixed alcohol and some medication, and he went viral as incoherent remarks. Then he had some other off-field issues where he showed up supposedly to practice intoxicated and lost his job. And again, I'm all for guys getting a second chance. Steve Scarsazian, by all accounts, has rebuilt his life, and God bless him for doing that. I don't know that, but and I kept reading he could have his pick of jobs. Well, he got a good one, but I don't know why Texas is really they've gone this way before. Tom Herman, offensive guru from Houston, 32-18. I don't think I agree with the hire. We'll see. I could be proven wrong. Texas, again, is not the plum job. They don't get the recruits that they used to get. Playing in the Big 12 and just the whole landscape. I think when the college landscape changed and all these conferences changed and the SWAC went away, the Southwestern Conference went away, was Texas, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and then Baylor and some weak sisters, right? SMU had some good years, but Rice, Texas owned that league most years, and they recruited the state of Texas, where obviously football is king. But now they're in the Big 12, and those recruits are going to other schools. And television has just changed the whole landscape. Kids don't have to stay home. Texas, they don't have to go to the best school in their region for their families to be able to watch them. Every single game's on TV. I can find a game, any game you want me to find, I can find Division I football, FBS division, and beyond on TV somewhere. So again, I don't think that is a problem. So Texas again has struggled since the inception of these power conferences. They struggle in the Big 12 because Oklahoma just reloads every year, and now they're recruiting more directly with Oklahoma than they did before. Yeah, I agree with Billy. Billy, I'm not sure the context of Billy's comment, but he's absolutely right. COVID's affected everything and has infected. That's actually very interesting phrasing, but I get it. It's not a standard year. But they did get a reasonable schedule of games played. They did a great job, I think, overall. It was interesting to where they decided when games would be played and when games wouldn't, based on what criterias. But I think they did a pretty good job overall. So we're coming down. We got one game left, and it's a big one. Alabama and Ohio State, and I think Bama will handle business. We're going to talk a little bit more about Ohio State, at least their coach, in just a little bit. The last thing I want to talk about on the college level is the sad passing of Floyd Little. Floyd Little is one of the is a very underrated player in the history of college football and professional football. He came from a long line. At one point, Syracuse was running back university, man. They were putting out guys year after year. Jim Brown, Ernie Davis, a tragic story. Ernie Davis would have been one of the greats in NFL history if he hadn't gotten sick and passed away, unfortunately. Larry Zonka, Jim Nance, Joe Morris, Floyd Little, right in the middle of all that. Floyd Little was a 3-time All-American, the only Syracuse running back ever to do that. He's a member of the College Football Hall of Fame and the Professional Football Hall of Fame. Played on some very mediocre to bad Denver teams. And he still made it to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, rushed for 7,000 yards at the time. No, I'm sorry. I don't have that right. He was 7th in all-time rushing when he retired. Now he's probably 34th. I don't know. Right now the numbers are, obviously they jumped out in the 90s and 2000s with Barry Sanders and Emmitt Smith and Frank Gore now playing for 30 years. He's moving up the list. So again, his numbers are dwarfed now. But again, remember, guys weren't playing the long careers that they play today. Even the average career is still pretty short, especially for somebody like a running back. But there's still some guys that have played a long, long time. Like Emmitt Smith played a long time. Walter Payton played a long time. Frank Gore may play until I retire. So I just wanted to mark the passing of Floyd Little because I think he's one of the, again, a lot of guys fall into this category probably, but they're kind of forgotten in the annals of both college and professional football. Syracuse at one time was a very good football school, guys, and they haven't been for years. They had a little bit of a run in the 80s under Dick McPherson, and they had some decent teams under Paul Pasquale, but I may have said his name wrong, but he's still coaching, by the way. I noticed he was coaching with, God, where did I see him in a bowl game the other day? Not sure. Yeah, it'll come to me. So I guess that'll wrap it up on the college side. I just wanted to pay my respects to Floyd Little, one of the greats, and probably mainly forgotten players in NFL history. Rick's jumping back to the Ole Miss before we jump out of here. Ole Miss was as bad, if not worse, than a Tulsa coach. He was in the stands taking pictures. Mike Leach is an idiot. Mike Leach is Mike Leach. And again, I'm not saying either coach is worse than the other. the Tulsa coach's comments after the game were reprehensible in my mind. I mean, again, both coaches, I'm not going to let either one of these guys off the hook. Floyd Little, yeah, let me just stay on this for 1 second before I finish up with this. Again, these two coaches should be embarrassed with the way their players played. I'm not singling out Mike Leach. He's just as much at fault as the Tulsa coach. I mean, it's ridiculous. Shouldn't happen. And I think both of them should be penalized. I don't care how they do it. Interesting. Drew points out Floyd Little's now number 80. What did I say? 36? Good grief. I wasn't even close. Tells you how the game has changed. Well, over years, obviously, as I said, guys are playing longer careers now. So Floyd Little retires at number 7, and he's number 80 right now all time. Still one of the most underrated players to play the game. I'm sorry. And forgotten, unfortunately. So I will pay my respects to Mr. Little. Before I move on to professional football, I just want to throw out a little, we're talking about some sad passings. And obviously 2020, by the way, was an awful year for everybody. And especially in the world of sports, a lot of the guys I grew up with, I've talked about this with Drew. I've talked about this with a lot of people. A lot of Hall of Famers passed away in baseball, football greats. And 2021's not starting out much better with the passing of Floyd Little, and also the passing of, switching gears a little bit to basketball, the great Paul Westphal. Started with the Celtics, went on to the Suns, played with the Sonics, I think, and the Knicks for a while. His career was kind of on the downhill side by the time he got to the Knicks, of course, because at that time everybody's career was on the downhill side when it got to the Knicks. Now it's on the uphill side. But he passed away at 70 years old. I believe he'd been battling brain cancer. But Paul Westphal was, again, an underrated player. One of the great finals of all time. They played the Celtics. The Suns played the Celtics in 70. Somebody can give me the year, I guess. I want to say 76. Some great games. The Suns were very underrated in that. I think that it was an upset every series they won that year, and they got to the obviously dynastic Celtics, and were supposed to go down easily, but they did not go down easily. 6 hard-fought games, including a triple overtime game, which was one of the great games in NBA playoff history in my mind. So anyway, I'd like to note the passing of Paul Westphal. Paul Westphal, one of my favorites watching through the years. Also was a very successful coach with the Suns and got them to an NBA final, by the way. Rick Sherlock confirms 1976 was the year they played that final. So anyway, just a tremendous player, I think, and another guy who kind of falls through the cracks when it comes to both playing and coaching acumen. So rest in peace, Paul Westphal. Rest in peace. And Rick's Billy says brain cancer he had was extremely deadly, and most are, unfortunately. So sad. And Billy, my condolences go out to you. You had a friend that passed away from the same cancer. So, yeah, brain cancer is not a good thing, obviously, guys. So, I guess that goes without saying. Let's move on to the NFL. It's going to be a wild week, guys. It's going to be interesting making our picks, as we'll talk about here in a little bit. If anybody should want to call today, let's put the number up for a little bit, just in case anybody wants to call in. I lost my number. Oh, no, I'm in the wrong thing here. Anyway, if somebody wants to call in while we're talking about professional football, feel free to do so. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff right now. We're going to get started with we'll look at some of last week's games. That kind of impacted where we are today, and we'll talk about the playoff scenario a little bit, which is kind of muddy, but we'll try to lay it out a little bit. Some of the games that we talked about, a lot of the games last week already, because they were played before we even got there. Some games that interest me last week, the Chiefs kind of sleepwalked through a victory with the Falcons, and again, The Chiefs are, in my mind, I'm sorry, still head and shoulders above everybody else in the league. I've said since midseason that their chief opponent was going to be boredom. And it's showing up the last month or so, but they're still winning. They're 14-1. So they sneak by. The Jets are on a winning streak. They win a second game in a row, and sadly, they'll have a pretty good chance of making it 3 games in a row today. We'll talk about in a little while. The Steelers, after really stinking up the joint for 3 straight weeks, beat the Red Hot Colts. Again, we know how I feel about the Colts and Phillip Rivers. They got way ahead in this game, and the Steelers fought back gamely and ended up actually winning the game. So well done. Great game by Big Ben. Threw the ball down the field, which we were talking about he could not do, but he found a way to get it done. The Bears have awakened. Amazingly, the Bears are in a playoff hunt, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And if they win today and make the playoffs, somehow they may save Nagy's job and Trubisky could be back. Who knows? I like Trubisky. Always have. I thought he was miscoached. Not coached well, which is why I thought Nagy should go. But you get on these late season runs, and sometimes it's a mirage, guys. It happens a lot in the NFL. Teams have these late season runs. Adam Gase. I don't care how close he is with the owner, he's got to get fired. But Nagy may have saved his job here. The Giants get hammered pretty good by the Ravens, but they're still alive today. We'll talk about it in a second. Any other games? The Panthers beat the Redskins, the team formerly known as the Redskins. 1 beer already. I want to wish a happy birthday to my stepdaughter, Marina, by the way. She'll be over in a little bit for brunch. So instead of beers, I may have mimosas today, Bill. So happy birthday, Marina. I don't know how that came out of the Panthers in Washington, but Washington had a chance to wrap up the East last week. Couldn't do it. They'll have another chance today. I predicted last week. Let's not forget before I get to the playoff scenarios. I said here that the Cowboys would win out and that the Redskins and Giants would lose out. And we'll see if that holds true.
To accept, press
Oh,
1.
John Namath's on the
To
phone.
voicemail. I'm sorry, 2. I didn't catch that. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
How do I accept this, Bill?
Hey.
Bill Pulver. I don't know. Are you on the air now? Oh, there you go.
Pardon?
Sorry, I didn't think you were coming through on the air, but you are. Is this Bill Pulver or Joe Namath? I'm sorry.
I announced my name as Joe Namath, so I wasn't sure if they'd take the call.
Well, I'm more likely to take Joe Namath's call than yours, so that was probably a good choice.
Well, this week's picks here. I mean, I got, the Gore's going to be out from the Jets, so it's not even a fair game. And
not even
the Jets
a
are
fair
not
game.
getting enough points. This is the first time I've ever seen the Patriots only give up 3 points against the Jets. And then you got
There's a
some
reason
teams
for
that
that.
are resting their players for the playoffs. So who is it? There's one team. Oh, well, Fitzpatrick is out for the Dolphins, right?
Fitzpatrick is out on COVID-19 protocol. I'm not sure if he has it or was exposed to it. I don't think they announced that, but yeah, he's out. But he wouldn't start.
I read something yesterday.
He wasn't going to.
That throws off the Dolphins.
He wasn't going to start anyway, though. So Tua would have started the game.
And
anyway.
the darn Steelers got to rest the whole team because they're still mad about their schedule that week where they had to play 3 times. This is their bye week. They're resting Big Ben. They got to wind him up again. Big Ben's just not
Well,
he's not ringing 12 at 12.
that's why he needs.
Ringing 11.
That's why he needs to rest up today.
And then I think the Chiefs are building themselves up to where they haven't had a bad game. Well, maybe they had one bad game against the Raiders. They're not untouchable. The Chiefs aren't, I think. But hey, that's only me. I want to see somebody else in the Super Bowl.
They've been sleepwalking for a while, but they're still the best team in the league. I think.
I have no idea why the hell they let that kid go. But anyways, he's out. So now it's up to.
Who's that?
Oh wait, what team was it? What team let their quarterback go? Was it
the Redskins
or some other team?
The team formerly known as the Redskins.
Yeah. That was low. Let the kid play out the season and then get rid of him. But here's my biggest gripe. I've been following, and then all of a sudden when the games play, it's just like, I don't want to get political, but the numbers change after we make our picks. I'm going on.
You know what, Billy? I apologize. I don't know that you were on the air till just now, but that's fine. Continue.
You just start over?
No. You're good. You're good.
The NFL this year in the point system. I don't know how many games I lost, but I think somehow the NFL has to get into their system somewhere where a team can score a half a point. Because these odds I'm getting are always like 2.5. And there's no way I can get a push on 2.5. But so somehow they should get a half a point for I don't know. I got to think about what play they could get. Maybe a block kick should be a half a point. Then when all these Vegas odds people are putting the odds out there, I got a better chance.
Bill, I got to bring you.
Once a half a point.
I got to bring you.
There's 3 minutes to go. Okay. Anyways.
I got to bring you on the air more often because, man.
Oh. The Jets don't have Gore. The Steelers are resting other steel workers, and let's see who else is. Oh, the Washington, yeah, that's another one. But these Vikings, I don't know what's going on with them. But
well, Rick Sherlock might be able to.
He's given up 7 points. Rick's got to call this in. I mean, look at their record: 6-10. They're giving up 7 points. That's wrong.
So to recap a little bit, Bill.
I'm scared to think that the Bucs could actually be in the Super Bowl. Would they be against the Bills, or are they in the same division?
No, they can play the Bills. That's a distinct possibility.
Well, wouldn't that be something? But the Bills are going to win today. The Giants got a big game, and they got 1 point. Now there's one case where they should get 1.5 points, and still that would make sense if they could get a half a point for blocking a kick. But okay, I'm going to let you go until we get the picks going.
So let me just recap real quickly. So you feel the NFL needs to get involved in this point spreads by putting half points for something?
Yes, or either that, or else all the people picking these teams cannot use half points. They got to stay with the whole.
Bill, what's on your menu this morning? Bloody Marys or mimosas? What do you got going on today?
Oh, you don't want to know what my agenda is.
No, I mean right now.
Got me
I mean right now.
No, I just caught. Oh, you know what? I got a board meeting right after this. I had to postpone the board meeting by half an hour because I told them I got to get my football picks in.
Ah, boy, get your priorities in order.
So there you go. See, I know it.
All right.
It's not easy.
I'm going to next time. I think we ought to continue. I think you should use the alias Joe Namath all the time because I don't think you really want to identify yourself next time you call in with that idea about the NFL and the half points.
Okay, I'll be Bill Belichick, and I'll be throwing my phone at you.
Oh, that'd be awesome. All right, Bill, we're going to move
All right,
on
have
here.
a good morning, my man.
Thanks for calling. Bye.
Thanks.
All right, guys. Rick and Drew, you're in charge of sobering Billy up for the rest of the show. So he moved ahead of me a little bit on the picks. I'm still trying to get through last week's games and surprises. So where I was on the NFC East. Again, I remember I predicted the Cowboys to win out. And the Giants and the team formerly known as the Redskins to lose out. So I think the Cowboys will win that division today. A couple other surprises. Seahawks manhandled really the Rams 20-9, but Rams never were in it. Big game for the Rams today. Packers just destroyed Tennessee, which surprised me a little bit as well. 40-14. So Packers want that home field. They got to win to get that home field today. So, and then the Bills, of course, beat the Patriots 38-9, which there's no need to talk about that game, right? God, the Bills are good. The Bills are good, guys. They really are. Rick thinks he started too soon himself. All right. So that takes us to the playoff scenarios before we jump into anything else. Let's look a little bit at the playoff scenarios. I had some up here, and I think I lost them. Crap. I had a good one. All right, let's look at it quickly. The Bills have wrapped up the division. Obviously, they can still get the number 2 seed, so they got something to play for today. It's not like the Bills got nothing to play for, so the Dolphins are going to have to. The Bills are going to give the Dolphins a real game, unless they're watching the scoreboard and Pittsburgh's losing. Pittsburgh's probably not going to win. And Browns got a lot of problems with COVID, but as Billy said, the Steelers are going to rest a lot of guys. So the Dolphins have got an issue. They can't win, and they don't control their own destiny, unfortunately. The Ravens do control their own destiny. The Browns control their own destiny. Those teams can get in by winning today. The Titans and Colts both control their own destiny. Well, actually, the Colts don't. The Colts have a scenario where they could be left out at 11-5. So it's again. It's a very interesting game. There's still, I made a little note here. There's 11 teams. In the AFC, 11 teams are fighting still for 5 playoff spots. And then there's some seeding issues as well. In the NFC, if the Redskins, the team formerly known as the Redskins, win, I don't disagree, Drew, by the way. The 2 and 3 seeds I don't think is that big a deal. It used to be a much bigger deal when you got a bye with the 2 seed. It could matter later on. They don't reseed, so it could matter later on. But I doubt it. So it's probably not a big deal. But I think the Bills will probably play their starters much of the game. I thought they might take them out last week, halfway through the game, but Dolphins still have got to win the game. Fitzpatrick is out, but yeah, I don't agree necessarily that, guys. There's something you guys don't consider when we're talking about home field advantage being nil, and it's not like it's non-existent. These teams still have to travel, and travel is not. It's never good, never fun, but it's worse now in the COVID age. Some teams are flying in the day of the game. Well, that's an advantage for the home team. Even if you fly in before, you've got guys you got to look at. There's still some advantage to playing at home. And fans in the stadium for the playoffs for the Bills. I'm not going to get into whether that's a good idea or not. That's a different topic. Anyway, The team formerly known as the Redskins control their own destiny. They win today, they're in. They'll win at 7-9. The Cowboys and the Giants need the Redskins to lose. And then, picky. I'm just making a point, Bill. The Giants and Cowboys play each other. I like the Cowboys a lot today. But if the team formerly known as the Redskins stumbles, the winner of that game will win the division. The Giants actually will win it at 6-10 if they win, based on tiebreakers. Ugh, right? Listen, Joe Judge has done a great job coaching that team this year, and then there will be a force to be reckoned with. But in the North, boy, why I still can't stop saying the NFC Central. Rick Sherlock, you're a fan of that of the Vikings, and obviously those four teams have been together forever. Do you still? I can't say NFC North. I don't know why I can't still have an NFC Central. Why did we have to change the names? Does it have to be, directional? Everything's got to be directional? East, west, north, south? I still say the Central. Maybe I should just do it and say the hell with it. Packers need to, I believe they need to win to assure themselves of the home field. The Bears win and they're in. Vikings are out. The Saints, again, in play for the home field advantage, but which, again, I do think still means something. I think these teams will want it. You think the Saints, again, you think there's no home field advantage, but do you think the Saints playing in a dome all year long want to go to Green Bay in January? Lambeau Field? I don't think so. Just me. Packers overrated. Well, they weren't overrated last week when they ran over a really good Tennessee team, 40-14. They're 12-3. You remember that fat bastard? Excuse my French. The fat bastard is all I can refer to this certain coach by. Great coach, horrible human being. I'll give you guys some extra credit for the first person who comes up with who I'm talking about. I'll pause for a second before I give you the quote because that'll give it away. Good TV with this silence treatment. Nobody's typing? Anybody typing? All right. Anyway, the fat bastard. Thank God we're not on regular radio, right? I think I can say that on radio now. Said, you are what your record says you are. Well, the record says the Packers are the best team in the NFC. Record-wise. Talking about Bill Parcells, by the way, not Weeb Eubanks. Weeb Eubanks. It's a good guess, Billy. All right. The Bucs, I don't think the Buccaneers don't have a lot to play for today, that's for sure. But they're in the playoffs, first time since 2007. They're playing the Falcons, I believe. We'll see. We'll be doing the games here in a little bit. The Seahawks, believe it or not, the Seahawks may. I don't think so, based on tiebreakers. I don't think they get any chance for home field. But they've wrapped up the NFC West, so the last spot there, we've got three teams playing for two spots. We got the Rams, the Bears, and the Cardinals. If the Rams and Bears win, they're in. The Cardinals lose. If the Cardinals win, they're. I think the Cardinals can only get in if the Bears and Rams both lose. Somebody can check me on that, but that's where we are. So that's where we stand with the playoff. Tampa should change name to the Tampa Patriots. They probably will get more so next year, Bill, when Julian Edelman is there and Tom Seaver. Wow, must be getting close to baseball season. Well, really, Bill. So the Seahawks get to buy if both the Saints and Packers lose. I'm looking at the tie. I don't have the tiebreakers in front of me. I'm just looking at conference standings and such. I guess they'd have the same record in the conference, all three of them. So I guess it would come to head, and I don't know if they played each other. So there's got to be a tiebreaker in there I'm not catching. So good catch there, Drew. And by the way, that's a big deal. Sorry. Another hard place to play, even without a crowd. Anyway, that's kind of the playoff scenarios that we're looking at. Some interesting stuff going on. Big games all around. I think it'll be an interesting day. Games are hard to pick. I agree. Games are very hard to pick today, as Billy said, because who knows? I say home field advantage is important. I say the 2 seed's probably better than the 3 seed, but as Drew said, I don't know the teams think it's being important. I don't know if Mark's here today. We'll find out if Mark's picking. So we got our main 3 guys. If Mark is with us, speak up, and when we get to that point, we'll talk about it. I got a couple other things to talk about before we do the picks today, guys. I want to talk about a couple of things. I guess I'll start with the Jaguars situation. Big rumors out yesterday. Doug Marrone's on his way out. Not a big surprise, but the Jaguars are going to chase Urban Meyer. I did a vlog the other day about Urban Meyer, interestingly enough. And hey, Mark Sarah, of course you should. You did well last week. We'll talk about that in a second. I did a vlog the other day about Urban Meyer, specifically in his future. Is it going to be staying in TV? Had some health issues. Is why he's retired twice now because of those. But I still think the challenge of the NFL may lure Urban Meyer out of the TV studio, and so do the Jaguars. Obviously, they're reportedly chasing him big time. Now, I said in my vlog, if I was Urban Meyer and I had a choice between 2 jobs, and one was San Diego and one was Jacksonville, I'd go to San Diego in a heartbeat. Beautiful new stadium. The best rookie quarterback in football. Jason Herbert is awesome, and probably is there's some guys that got picked ahead of him that teams may be going, uh-oh. Now, if he went to Jacksonville, he'd have a chance to coach Trevor Lawrence. But I think San Diego's got more pieces and a better organization than the Jaguars have. I don't think that can be argued. The organization has been in disarray. The fan support, and maybe because of the organization issues, has not been good. So if I'm Urban Meyer, I'm thinking twice about Jacksonville. If I want to coach in the NFL, I'm taking San Diego, but it's going to come down to money and whether Urban Meyer even wants to come back. I said in my vlog I didn't see him coming back in college. Maybe the Texas opening, which wasn't open when I did the vlog, and it didn't look like it was going to be. But it's going to be very interesting. The other side of this, which affects the Jets, interestingly enough, is if Urban Meyer turns them down, the rumors are that Ryan Day is very interested in the job, and the Jaguars would be very interested in him if Urban Meyer won't come. Now, the question is going to be, if Ryan Day gets that job, does he take Justin Fields instead of Trevor Lawrence? I wouldn't. Again, I'm on record as saying the only sure thing here is Lawrence. Justin Fields, I mean, he's had a rap about not playing great against better teams. He turned that rap around Friday night against Clemson. Had a tremendous game, and he's a tremendous talent. I've been following that kid for a long time, long before he got the NFL. I think I told you guys, and I'll mention it again. There's a show called QB1 on Netflix. Go watch the older shows even, because you'll see some guys that you watched in college, at least, at some really big name schools. Some of them didn't make it, some of them did, but it's a really interesting show following them in their high school senior years. Justin Fields is one of these guys. I don't know if they're going to have a new season. Probably not this year because of COVID and high school football, but watch that. So anyway, first of all, this affects the Jets because he may take Justin Fields number 1. Now the Jets have Trevor Lawrence at number 2. They will not pass up Trevor Lawrence at number 2. Adam Gase is not staying, Billy. You could say that till you could need a bigger boat. Look at Adam Gase has a great relationship with Chris Johnson. But you know what? Anybody who's been in a management position, I've had a lot of guys that I liked a lot that I had to ask to leave the building because they didn't produce. Adam Gase hasn't produced. He didn't produce here. He didn't produce in Miami. He's not a good head coach. Don't let these last 2 games fool you. It happens all the time in the NFL. Move on. Now, here's the thing. Let's just say everything stays as it is, right? How do I get rid of this? Let's just say everything stays as it is. And Trevor Lawrence goes number 1. I don't care who's coaching the Jets, whether it's Adam Gase or somebody else. And if Adam Gase stays, Bill, I'll buy you a dinner besides the drinks I already got to buy at BJ's. He's not staying. No way. Oh, my God. Belichick gets fired. I don't even want to post that one. So, Bill, stop reading the Boston papers. Okay, man. I wish I could put both of these up at once. I will quickly. Here we go. Here's number 1. Bill Belichick gets fired. He goes to Tampa. Not ever going to happen. Never going to happen. Let me get back to the Jets. I'm not running that organization. Obviously, and they're very lucky. I'm not. They probably would have been 0-16 for the last 10 years. But I get paid the big bucks that I'm getting paid by the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. Oh, I don't get paid. Sorry. To give my opinions. I'll give you my opinion. The Jets, unless they can take Trevor Lawrence, should take Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith is a game changer for any quarterback. If they can't get Trevor Lawrence, then I get a new head coach. I get somebody to straighten out Sam Darnold. There's a guy down in Foxborough might be able to do it, but I don't think he's going to go to the Jets. It's Josh McDaniel. But if I'm the Jets, I keep. Yeah. Here's a good point, William Pulver. Coach of the year, Brian Flores has done a great job there, but they still got scars from Adam Gase. So if I'm the Jets, you take Devontae Smith. You fix Sam Darnold. Give him some weapons. I think the kid can play. And again, if the Jets want to dump him, please dump him in Foxborough. They'd be crazy. Trade you Stephon Gilmore for him. Straight up. Contracts match. You guys need a defensive back, a shutdown defensive player, defensive back, and he's your guy. I'll trade you even up. So who's Josh? Oh, Josh is a cheater too. Not riling me up today, Billy. Not staying on topic. Guys got to get some new material. Boy. Fixated with the Patriots' success and why they could never have done it. Whatever. Not going to do it. So anyway, that's my opinion there. Devontae Smith, best player in the draft. Got to take Trevor Lawrence at number 1, though. Anybody does. So the Jets, if they end up at number 2, they got lots of things they could do. Trade down, get more picks later on, fill a bunch of holes. I say you take the best player in the draft, Devontae Smith and then move on from there. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be interesting, but that's just my opinion. I'm going to say this. Let's just say I'm going to say the Jaguars bring in Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer will take Steve Lawrence. I did it again. I said Steve Lawrence last week. Oh my God. How old am I? Najee Harris is not even going, and he's not going to the Jets, Bill. Not going to happen. Great player, will not be a Jet. Maybe. I shouldn't say that. You're not going to take him with the number 2 pick. So if the Jets want Najee Harris, then trade down and you'll get him later on. There's teams out there that want a quarterback and will think Josh Fields or the kid for everybody's name's escaping me today. The BYU quarterback, Zach Taylor, or Lance, or Mac Jones. Not sold on Mac Jones on this level, but we'll see. Maybe Trevor can sing like Steve. Maybe that's why I keep doing it. Drew, I'm not positive. I've done it a bunch of times this week. Is Steve Lawrence alive? Drew, I know you got the answer to this, or can find it for me quickly. So again, the Jets have a lot of options at number 2. Actually, the Jets may be better off at number 2 than they were at number 1, to be honest with you, because they're number 1. They got to take Lawrence. They have to. At number 2, they got all kinds of options. They keep the pick. They can take the second best quarterback if they want. Still trade Darnold. They can keep Darnold and take, as I said, I think the best player in the draft in Smith. They can trade down and fill a bunch of spots, maybe get Najee Harris and an offensive lineman, which they need tremendously. They might even take that offensive lineman at number 2. Would not be very fan-friendly, though, right? So, anyway. That's where I see that hashing out. As far as the Urban Meyer thing, I don't know how much credence to put into it. Thank you, Rick. 83 and still alive. Thank you. I thought he was gone. I'm glad he's still here. I like Steve Lawrence. Not sure how I got stuck on Steve Lawrence here. Happens all the time. What else to chat about? Anything else going on in the NFL that I missed? Tell me what you guys got on your mind before we move to the picks. We're running way ahead of time here today, which is fine. We got a birthday party here at 11 o'clock. Trying to see if there's any other news I should cover in the world of professional football. Not sure I see anything. All right. Watson has his game today. Has Alzheimer's. Oh, that's sad. Steve Lawrence has Alzheimer's, unfortunately. I thought you meant me. I saw Alzheimer's quickly. I thought you were talking about me. Although some would probably say that's probably possible. All right, guys. Nothing else? Last call to cover something on the NFL level besides our picks. Next week we'll be talking. I don't know what we'll do. I think next week we may do a couple things when it comes to the picks. We'll pick the weekly games, I think, but I think we'll also pick. I think we'll have a little competition to pick every game, every playoff game, right through next week, right through to the Super Bowl. Come up with a winner. Maybe I'll do a little point system. I'll do a little work on it this week, and we'll see. I know, Drew. Hey, Drew. I know you're. Hopefully, you're going to do your little playoff pool, which is not picking winners, by the way. It's picking players, which is a lot of fun. I hope you're doing that. I have a lot of fun doing that one. And this year, I don't have to load up on Patriots. So, San Diego baseball makeover. We're going to get into baseball, Drew. Probably next week, maybe the week after. we're gonna get more baseball centric. It's hard to do more than a couple of topics on these Sunday shows so that I can share to the groups that I want to, and not to have them get mad at me because I've got too much content that doesn't apply. Maybe I got it, as I said in the past, maybe I've got an add a show, but here comes the point scam. Billy, you are absolutely killing me, man. You're on the wrong side to be a conspiracy theorist, aren't you? I'll let that one lie. Yes. So anyway, Drew, we're going to get more into baseball for sure. You know that I am a big baseball fan, but again, I don't like to make these shows get too many topics just because of the way I am growing my viewership has been getting the groups that I can share it to. And I've got a lot of baseball groups to do that with. So I may try to do a baseball show every week. If I can find a time in my schedule to do it, I think I will do that. And then another show like this to cover the rest of the sports that we'll have to cover. I got to cover college basketball. I've got a lot of viewers that some of the best viewerships I've had are the ex-college basketball players I had. Lloyd Walton, we're pushing a lot of views out. We'll probably get 4,000 views for that interview. So anyway, we'll get it there. Rick wants to use Billy's half-point plan. Yeah, I think it'll be for most roughing the passer. Roughing the passer, I think will be worth half a point. I think that's what we'll do. All right, guys, let's move on to the picks. 10 after 11. We'll go slow. We got to pick every game today, so. Oops. Hold on. Got to get to my. I know Billy thinks there's a big conspiracy with these. What's Drew talking about here? NBA. We'll finish up chatting about this. Yes. I do want to talk about the NBA. I got a lot of groups I belong to that want NBA talk. NHL, yeah, we'll do some. There's actually, guys, take a look at NESIP, the Northeast Streaming Sports Network. There's some shows there there's a show there specifically about hockey. I was watching him for a while today. He broke down the Ranger game from last night. The NBA, I definitely want to talk about. The Knicks are 3-2. I've got some high hopes for the Knicks. Maybe not this year, but going forward. This year, I think they'll be a little better than expected. But we're going to talk about all the sports. But the problem is, it's hard to do it within one show because, again, I'm sharing it to different groups that want content that's specific to them. So, anyway. Billy's on the clock, apparently, because he's canceled a board meeting. Where is the board meeting? Downstairs in your boardroom? Bar room? Let's get to the picks. We'll talk more about the shows going forward, guys. I do want your guys' input. I appreciate it. And we'll definitely talk about a lot of that stuff going forward. College football is going to be done in a week. We'll be done talking about that for the most part. Pro football, we got to talk about for another month, but probably not to the extent that we are now, other than coaching movement, things like that. Rugby, maybe. Billy wants rugby. Board meeting at Pulver's Pub. Billy wants to talk about rugby. Board meeting. All right, guys. Last week's results. Drew Ehrlich, 10-5-1. Tremendous. Might have been our best score of the year. Pretty sure. Congratulations, Drew. Very well done. Billy Pulver right behind him. Not sure when they're fixing all the point spreads on him, and I'm not sure exactly how he managed to get 9-6-1. Great job. Mark was 8-7-1 in his first outing with us. TGI Sports Talk 8-7-1. One of my best outings of the year. It's been a rough year, guys. And Rick 7-8-1. Billy did stick up for you when I said that you were trailing at 7-8-1. Actually, that would be a very good week a lot of times for us. So Certainly not a bad job out of anybody. It's been a tough year, guys. It's been a very tough year. All right, if you're ready, get ready. I got everybody down. I got 5 of us. I got Rick, I got Drew, I got Mark, I got Keith, or TGI Sports Talk, and Bill Pulver, the chairman of the board. This week's picks will be based on something to play for or not. Yeah, it's hard. This is a very tough week, as Drew's pointing out, and I know Mark pointed out earlier. It's a tough week. So we're going to start off. We'll probably have the games that are most relevant first, or have some relevance. The Dolphins at the Bills. The Bills are a 1-point favorite. And we don't know what the Bills are going to do. We don't know whether they're going to be resting players. We do know that Fitzpatrick is out, and Tua would have started anyway. But they don't have their relief pitcher, as it were. As Jack from Mac and Jack loves the relief quarterbacks thing. I hate it. I'm going to take Miami in this game, +1. Guys, I got to bet 3 of these games today. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. No, we can't go alphabetically based on road teams. Oh, my God. Oh, Drew's got the Dolphins. Mark's got the Bills. Rick's got the Bills with the fans and the weather. I don't think there's any fans there today, but Rick, they talked about for the playoff game. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think there's any fans there today. Billy, you keep giving me a countdown, but where are you? Me, guys. All right, while we wait for Billy to figure out his pick, we'll see what we're going to be doing next here. Did I miss your pick, Bill? Oh, shit. Excuse my French, guys. All right. Ravens. Uncle Andy's there. Are there fans there today? Is that true? I could have swore this was a playoff thing, but I will take your guys' word for it if there's fans there. We're going to get trying hard to get Mark's comment up there. All right, Ravens at the Bengals. The Ravens are a 13-point favorite on the road. My gosh, there's been some big road favorites this year. Going back to Mark's stat last week about the favorites covering only 44% of the games, I think it was. This is probably why. There's been a huge number of road favorites this year. I'm going to take the Bengals, guys, just because it's so many points. The Ravens may not. I don't know. I'm just going to take the points. I got a feeling here. I don't know what it is. Bill took the Bills. Billy's taking the Ravens. Drew's got the Ravens. Rick is with me on the Bengals. And Mark's got the Bengals. All right. Interesting. Could be an interesting game. I mean, the Bengals have played tough this year, or since Joe Burrow went out. I mean, they were playing well with Burrow. And they've actually played gamely since. In a game that God knows what to do here, the Steelers are at the Browns. The Browns are a 10-point favorite. The Browns, lost last week to the lowly Jets, but again, they had no wide receivers. I think they've still got some COVID issues this week. Roethlisberger is not playing. Mason Rudolph is playing, and we know what happened the last time that Mason Rudolph played against the Browns, but I expect him to not be pulverized without his helmet on like he did last week, but we'll see. I'm gonna say the Browns find a way to cover these points. Again, not a big Baker Mayfield fan. I just am not a big Baker Mayfield fan, but I'm certainly a bigger fan of him than Mason Rudolph. Billy's got the Browns. Rick's got the Browns. Browns for Drew. And Mark has the black and gold of the Steelers. Mark going against the grain. Another interesting game. Jaguars at the Colts. I told you, if things break right, the Colts could be out with 11 wins. They're a 14-point favorite here at home against the Jaguars. Jaguars, they're 1-14. They've actually been in some games this year. But I don't see where they have any motivation at all. I don't even know if they show up. Doug Marrone's on his way out the door. Stop with no receivers. I saw a receiver scout there. Well, guess what? They had 4 receivers out, Bill. It's a fact. So, whatever. Nobody's taking anything away from the Jets. Just a comment. Browns had no receivers last week. That's wrong, actually, right? It is wrong. They did have receivers. They were out 4 receivers. Keith's going to take the Colts in this game. -14. Everybody's got to be on the Colts here, right? Well, maybe not Bill. We got the Colts for everybody else. Drew, Rick, Mark, all on the Colts. Colts lose well, is that a pick? Or is... Billy, is that your pick? Or is that... I'm not sure if that's your pick or not, Bill. So you can confirm while I move on. Titans, another big road favorite, 7.5 at the Texans. Tennessee's got everything to play for. They could have clinched the AFC South last week if they beat Green Bay. They weren't even in the game. Billy's got the Colts. He's now shouting at me. Please don't shout, Bill. I'm very sensitive. If you haven't noticed, I'm very sensitive. You know what? I've done really well picking the Titans this year. I didn't take them last week. I think every week I've been on them in the cigar box, excuse me. They've won. I'm going to be on the Titans today, -7.5. Drew got, somehow I'm missing something here. What's going on? All right, there we go. Rick's got the Texans. Drew's got the Titans. Billy's got the... Mark's got the Texans. Billy's picking the Titans to score the first half point of the game, apparently, with a roughing the passer penalty. Is that your pick, Bill? Wow. I think I got to start drinking before these shows. I don't know. Just confirm your pick as the Titans, Bill, while I move on to the big game in the NFC East. The Cowboys, -3 at the Giants. Not sure about the line. I like the Cowboys to win the game. Not sure that they should be a 3-point favorite in this game on the road, though. Billy's got the Titans, just to confirm, guys. So the Cowboys -3 at the Giants. Again, I think the Giants, Joe Judge has done a great job. I mean, this team, I don't know. You read the New York papers and you say, well, the Giants shouldn't be embarrassed to have a chance to win a playoff spot today. I don't think any of these teams ought to be really enamored with their seasons. You know, but probably the team, I think the team with the best future outlook here could be the Giants. I hate to say that, but it could be. I'm going to take the Cowboys just because I have picked them. Let's remember this. When they win today, I picked them to go and win their last 2 games and everybody else to lose. Rick's got the Cowboys. Drew's got the Cowboys. Mark's all over the Giants. Emphatically, G-men. No, Bill, the Cowboys give up 3 in this game. Cowboys -3. Giants for Billy. Stop shouting at me. Man, hurts my ears. The team formerly known as the Redskins still control their own destiny today against the Eagles. -1.5. The Redskins are -1.5 at the Eagles. The Eagles are in complete disarray. They think Jalen Hurts is their future. Good grief. Who's running that team? Their coach is probably on the way out. Alex Smith still isn't 100%, though. I have got to be all over Jalen Hurts today because I just think that the footballers are not going to win that division. I'm going to stick by my prediction, and I'm going with the Eagles today. I don't know if I've been on the Eagles all year since maybe week 1 or 2. So they're getting 1.5. The Footskins. I love some of the comments we get when we pick the Redskins games. I've said Redskins a lot. I know. Oh, Footskins back up. Bills on the Skins. It's not politically correct, Bill, but that's okay. I think I saw Mark with the Eagles. I just covered up his comment. Mark's got the Eagles. Washington. The Eagles are resting everyone. What are they resting them for? Their golf matches Tuesday? I don't doubt you, Rick. It's just funny. I got to put this up. I'm sorry. This isn't to point you out, Rick. But it's very funny that the Eagles would be even considering resting anybody, if that's the case. Oh, my gosh. Got to rest them up for week 1 next year, guys. All right. Packers at the Bears. Packers -5.5. Still something to play for, whether you think home field is important or not. Again, I think the Packers want to play at home. I think they want to play on that frozen field in January. Well, frozen field, not anymore with technology, but the Bears have been playing good football recently, but I think they get blown out here today. Packers 5.5 on the road. Maybe another cigar box pick. Packers for Drew. No injury going to be around. Eagles. Okay, I need more picks. Billy's on the Packers. So I need Mark and, well, good point, Drew. I was actually, I had forgotten that. Rick's on the Packers. I'm just waiting on Mark's pick here. Mark will take the Bears. I think that's our first single. We haven't had a unanimous pick, and I think that's the first one with just one person on it, I think. Oh, the Colts were a unanimous pick. Drew's right. I keep talking about playing home field, but the bye is important as well. So that's very important. And it can go to one of 3 teams, I believe. Correct, Drew? I had counted Seattle out erroneously, so I appreciate being straightened out there. So you could either have the Saints, the Packers, or the Seahawks. Cardinals at the Rams. Lots of games with playoff implications. So the Rams are -1 at home. The Rams are really kind of Jekyll and Hyde, man. I talk them up week after week. I think when they're on their game, they're the most balanced team in the AFC. But then they throw stinkers out like they did last week on the road. But in this spot, at home, Kyler Murray, he's played a little better the last couple of weeks, but I still think he's banged up. And I'm not a big fan of the coach. I'm going to take the Rams, who I am a big fan of the coach of. I'll take the Rams -1. Rick's got the Rams. Drew's got the Cardinals. We're all over the board here. I know there's no golf. I did leave out the fact that there is no golf, but you know what? I think they need to shut down Kyle Murray. They need to run the football, and they've proved that they can run the football when they need to. So in these types of games, maybe not against the Seattles, but Billy's on the Rams. Mark is on the Rams. I couldn't see your icon there. Now I got it. Ram. That is a ram, right? Almost looks like a little bear. All right. So Drew is the only one who doesn't believe in the backup quarterback for the Rams. They did sign Blake Bortles, by the way, this year, who was their backup last year. I don't know if I'd be surprised to see him get in the game. I thought it was, Mark. Thank you for verifying that, though. The games that matter for seeding. I guess these are the ones that are tricky because do the teams care that much, as Drew pointed out earlier? Do the teams care that much about seeding if they're not getting that bye? Especially if it's the number 2 or 3. I mean, I do think you want to play to get home games. The first one we got up is the Buccaneers minus 6.5 against the Falcons. Guys, I've had so much trouble with the Falcons over the years. They've knocked me out of $75,000 King of the Hill pools. They've just beat me up everywhere I turn. I can never pick them right. I'm on them. They lose against bad teams. I'm against them. They win against good teams. But I'll go with the Bucks and the Bradys here because I think, there's still a pride thing to play for, and 11 wins is something to play for. Tom Brady's always out to win, and I don't think they're going to sit Brady. Brady's not a guy to come out of games. I do realize he's a little bit older now, but Tom Brady does not like to come out of games. So you may see, you may see him come out for the victory formation, come out of the game for that play, but that may be it. So I will be on the Bucks. Minus, what I say, 6.5. Falcons for Drew. Thinks Brady's got nothing to play for, I'm guessing. Bucks for Bill. Bucks for Rick, and Mark has got I don't have Mark's pick yet. Mark's doing some research. Mark wants the trophy this week. While we wait on Mark, I'm going to move down to the next game. Falcons for Mark. I've noticed a trend with Mark in the 2 weeks he's picked with us. It seems like there's again, based on the stat he put out there, I guess he would take a lot of dogs, but maybe I'm wrong. I feel like he's taking a very significant percentage of underdogs, but you can comment on that if you'd like. Next game, Seahawks at the 49ers. The Seahawks are 5.5-point favorites. The 49ers are going to rest some of their injured guys today. I don't know for what. Again, maybe like the Eagles, they're trying to get ready for next year. But the Seahawks still have a shot. I guess they'll know better when this game's played. Well, the Saints are playing at 4:25 as well. I'm going to have to take Seattle here. As they do have something to play for. Mark did not win last week. Mark finished tied with TGI Sports Talk at 8-7-1. Drew was the winner at 10-5-1. Come on, Billy. Drew's on the Seahawks. We know Billy's on the Seahawks. I already write Billy's pick down. It's one of his Hawks for Mark, Seahawks for Billy. Rick's got. We're all on the Seahawks. All right, minus 5.5. Interesting game here. Saints and the Panthers. 6.5-point favorites. I've been a big touter of the Panthers all year long. They've played well. They've done well against the spread. They've fallen back a little bit recently. Had a nice victory against the team formerly known as the Redskins. Oh, Billy's got his own pool. Mark, make sure you collect from Billy. I don't know. I guess if Packers have won, what do the Saints have to play for? They still get the bye? Not sure now. I've kind of lost track of what we were talking about before. Drew, you're my scenario guy. Yeah, if the Packers have won at 1:00, it's over for both Seattle and the Saints. So there could be some changes at 4:00. That's what makes these games a little bit problematic. I'm going to take Carolina because I think the Packers will have won at 1:00 and wrap this up. So I'm going to take the points. What I say it was 6.5. Sorry, I'm working two mouses here at once, guys. Keep grabbing the wrong one. Saints minus 6.5 is my pick. No, I'm sorry. Carolina plus 6.5. Sorry. Panthers for Mark. Correct. Another good point for Drew points out. Kamara's out for the Saints with COVID-19. Well, again, it's hard to tell whether guys have COVID-19 or have been exposed to it, but he is out. And the rest of the running back situation is not looking good either. And neither is your quarterback situation necessarily. You know, there's no way I can put Drew Brees out there if the Packers have won at 1:00. Billy's on the Saints. Where's Rick's on the Saints, and Drew's on the Panthers. I got to say one more time, guys, this is the last time we get a chance to talk about Matt Rule for a while. Love Matt Rule. Love the hire. This team is going to be in pretty good shape here in a couple of years. We'll be talking about the Panthers for a lot of years, I think. Then we got some irrelevant games. Who cares? Chargers at the Chiefs. Chad Henne's likely to start for Mahomes. By the way, the Chargers are minus 3.5 in this game at the Chiefs. I got to tell you, Justin Heber's played great. He's got probably the rookie of the year. He's going to get a chance to go and beat the Chiefs on the road, regardless whether they play anybody or not. And sadly, Travis Kelce's going to probably lose a shot at being the first tight end ever to gain 1,500 yards in a season because he's probably not going to play. So, with all that said, I'm going to take the Chiefs at home. Plus 3.5. Sorry, I can't, whatever. There's enough good guys on that team where I think they'll be competitive at home. We'll see. And the Chargers are, if I'm a Charger fan, I'd be worried about winning this game. Again, we talk about this a lot. Players play to win. Anthony Lynn can't come back. It's very similar to the Adam Gase thing. Anthony Lynn is not the future there. So there's been problems every year. I don't think you want to leave Justin Herbert in Anthony Lynn's care. So I'm going to take the Chiefs. Billy's got the Chiefs. Drew's got the Chargers. Mark's got the Chargers. And I'm going to guess Rick's got the Chargers. All right. We'll get to your game here eventually, Rick. I promise. All right, heading down the line. Here they are. Vikings at the Lions. The Vikings are a 7-point favorite. I am all over the Lions and the points here. Lions plus 7. I don't know. And Rick, you can make a comment if you want. I think if the Vikings lose this game and fall to 6-10, Zimmer could be on the hot seat. Not sure. We keep talking about him getting a pass. because of extenuating circumstances. I'm thinking if Matthew Stafford plays this game, they got a good shot at winning. Dalvin Cook's out with sadly with the passing of his dad. And I'm not a big fan of the Vikings offense when they don't have Dalvin Cook. Just me. Vikings for Drew. We know Bill. I know Rick's got to have him. Where's Mark? Mark's got the Lions. Mark's with me. Come on up. That's for you, Mark. Can't be for me. Okay. I'll be honest with you. Here's another game. The Raiders and the Broncos. I've read a lot of articles this year that even though he's got, I think, 7 years remaining on his 10-year, $100 million contract, that John Gruden could be in trouble. The Raiders have faded now 2 years in a row. And I don't know if they're accurate or not. I doubt they're going to eat that kind of money. But, the Raiders are a very predictable organization. They haven't gotten much more predictable under Mark Davis than they were under his dad. So who knows? Anything could happen. In this game, the Raiders are 2.5-point favorites against the Broncos. I will take the home dog again. And I'll take the Broncos plus 2.5. Drew's on the Raiders. Rick's on the Raiders. Mark's on the Raiders. Keith could be on an island here unless Billy bails me out. I don't know if I want him to or not, but. Okay. Bill. Oh, no. What am I waiting on? Bill. Where's Bill Pulver? Oh, Bill's got the Raiders. Sorry. Keith's on an island with the Broncos. I love the Broncos in this game. Now the game of the week. Everybody's been waiting for. The Jets at the Patriots. As Billy said, Patriots are a 3-point favorite. Very rare in recent times that the Patriots have been this low a favorite, especially at home against the Jets. The big thing that the Patriots have to shoot for today is Cam Newton has a chance to tie the franchise record or even break the record for rushing touchdowns by a Patriot quarterback, which Steve Grogan set. But he can't throw the football. He's got a chance to match his own record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, but so what? With that said, I got to take the Patriots, right? I am not ever going to pick against my team. Ridiculous article today, by the way, guys. Before I'll get your guys' picks, you can make any comments you want. Did anyone see that cheating on first down the Bucs got last week? Bill, you have got to get cheating out of your head. You got this fixation with cheating. I worry about guys who bring up cheating that much. Let me get the picks down here before I forget. We got everybody in the Jets. Drew's all over. Drew's become the who told me he'd never pick teams in that play in New Jersey, has started taking them fairly consistently. Billy's got the Jets, we know. Mark has the Pats. Mark, are you okay? Mark's on the Pats. Rick's on the Jets. That concludes our picks. Guys, I got to tell you something really ridiculous. Billy mentioned firing Bill Belichick. There's a ridiculous article in the Boston Globe today about, whether the confidence in Bill Belichick has gone around the bend. Well, I think the guy who wrote the article's gone around the bend, This was a difficult year for the Patriots. They were affected as much as anybody by COVID. Everybody talks about the Steelers and this, that, and the other thing. Whatever. It affected everybody. It's not an excuse. But the Patriots do a lot of evaluating and grab guys that a lot of teams don't want. They didn't have that chance this year. So Not an excuse in any sense of the word. Bill Belichick has not done a good job this year. Bill Belichick, the coach, Bill Belichick, the general manager, have not done a good job. Things need to change. There's a lot of free agents there. They also got $70 million in cap space. So we're going to Mark's ill. Is that ill? Sure what that is. Anyway, there's a lot of work to be done in New England, but this is not irreversible. We need a quarterback. We need a couple wide receivers. We need some work on the front seven. I think Bill Belichick is up to this retooling, and next year we'll see. So Bills fans, Dolphins fans, enjoy it. You guys got good teams. You got good teams going forward. You will be pushed next year harder than you were pushed this year. Just an early prediction on next year. Someone call 911. What's this? Summer stays one way or the other. Guys, it's been a lot of fun picking these games with you guys this year. We're going to continue it through the playoffs. We'll figure out a way to make it fun. I'll come up with something during the week where I can cheat Billy. I know Billy likes to, Zimmer. How do you get Summer out of Zimmer? Are you speaking into your computer, Rick? Yeah, Zimmer stays one way or another is Rick's prediction. We'll talk about coaching changes. You know what? Black Monday's coming for the NFL for some guys. It's coming tomorrow or Tuesday. It'll come. I think there's going to be more change than we might think. So, Billy, thanks for coming. You can taste my beer. Have one for me. I'm going to have a mimosa very quickly. I thank all you guys for being with me. As I said, we're going to make some tweaks as we go forward, and football season's winding down. We'll talk more baseball. We'll talk more NBA. We're going to talk college basketball, which is a passion of mine, especially when we get to tournament time. So I'm not a big regular season basketball fan, so we'll talk a little bit about some of the stories that are going on. But, once tournament time comes, I plan to get Dick Weiss back on my show. Got some other ex-college players I'm hooking up. I'm trying to get, as Rick knows, I'm working on Chuck Foreman for my interview show. I may even get to the point where I bring some guests on this show for a short time. Little quick interviews maybe during baseball season or whatnot. But it's going to be fun. We'll shift gears as the sports seasons change. And you guys don't be afraid to send me topics you want to chat about. I'm more than willing to chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. So if you're in the groups and you're watching this, make a comment. Feel free to make a comment about more things you'd like to hear about. And you guys, my regulars here in the room with me, can certainly make those suggestions during the week. If there's a topic of the week you want to cover and you want to even debate, I'll bring you on the show. All I got to do is send you an email, and you'll be right here on the show with me. Now, you got to put pants on. Well, at least a shirt. I guess I won't know if you're wearing pants. But, guys, I thank you. Next week, Hal McCoy will be with me. Longtime sports writer in the Ohio, Cincinnati area. Covered the Reds for 40 years. Back to the Big Red Machine. We're going to talk a lot about the Reds, that great time in their history. We'll be talking about Pete Rose and Marge Schott, Lou Piniella. Going to be a great interview. I look forward to it a lot. In the meantime, guys, be careful out there if you're driving in the snow later. It's going to be a great day for football. There's some really good games, even though they're tough to pick. I get it. I think we're going to have an exciting Sunday of football. I look forward to seeing you guys here next Sunday at 9 a.m. and Friday at 8 a.m. for the interview show with Hal McCoy. Have a great day, guys. Bye.